Oh, we also get 2 hero points now.
That's correct. Thank you for the reminder. You all do get 2 hero points to start the session because I am extremely forgetful and I forget to hand them out. I think there's a module that could help me with that, but this is the easier solution for now. Yeah, feel free to increase your hero points up to 2 if you had less than 2, and that's what you'll start with for the session. I figure after 20 sessions of this, I'm starting to understand how the system is meant to be played, and now I can start making tweaks to it. I wanted to avoid that for the whole campaign, but I just forget hero points too much, so this is where we are. Last time, y'all entered a crypt underground. There was a slab on Slab Hill that had seemingly slid off of the hill due to recent weather. You were all there to gather mushrooms for Megaloy, but you found a basket of those same mushrooms scattered on the ground outside this new opening in the hill, and so you decided to enter and see what's up. Unfortunately, what was up inside was a whole bunch of skeletons and things who sprung out and attacked you, and now, after defeating them, you found that even the walls are trying to hurt you. There are a bunch of pillars in this room that keep on flinging out these magical knives at you. You do have an escape route. Nocti has managed to push open the southern door leading out of the room there. And Ogden has managed to damage the top 2, or not damage, disable the top 2 pillars there that I've marked with an X. Jib has done a decent amount of damage to the pillar he's standing right next to, but it's not quite crumbled yet. And that's a good transition because Jib, it's back to your turn.
All right. Jib is just going to keep going to town.
Let's go.
Flurry
Punch
of
that.
blows. Not bad.
That will not hit, unfortunately.
Oh, that won't hit?
No. These pillars are pretty hard to damage.
I'm going to use one of my hero points.
All right. That will hit.
That's better.
Much better. Not starting
great.
off with the best damage roll ever, but we'll see what the next one gets you.
Okay.
That is a hit. That is a hit, yes.
That's better.
Oh, that is max damage.
Big hit.
So, yeah, you managed like a fracture through the pillar before, and you slam in that same spot again. It starts to kind of crumble out. Some of the rocks on the other side kind of pop out a bit as pieces of the pillar are starting to fall apart. You haven't quite toppled it yet, and you can still see the magic glowing on it, but you've almost got it at this point.
All right, let's see if I can get a couple lucky rolls. No.
Nope.
All right, add backswing.
No.
Definitely not. All right, that's my turn.
Jib's just smashing on this pillar repeatedly with his fists. You do make some progress, but Ogden, it's back to you.
I'm gonna walk back over to this pillar because I was gonna try to open the door, but now there is a door open. Proficiency, and I'm gonna do a. It is thievery to disable device.
Yes,
right?
yeah, 2 actions,
The-
thievery check, which can be public because we'll know if you do it or not.
And I'm going to use the guidance on that,
All right,
and I'm going to use a hero point to reroll.
that seems logical. Aha! That is a success. So we cross out yet another of the pillars. And that is Ogden's turn. Good job. So you get in there with your thieves' tools, manage to pry some of the runes free, so they just pop out, and the magic can no longer flow through the runes like it's supposed to. The magical circuit is interrupted, and that pillar stops flinging out knives. Ayla, it's your turn.
All right. I would like to attempt to trick magic item
All right.
on my wand of heal.
Now,
Use-
give me, I just want to double check this.
Mhm.
Did you crit fail it before, and then that's like, oh no, you can't use it for
I
a while?
scrolled up and I got a 7, and I don't believe that's a crit fail.
Okay, no, that shouldn't be. It should be like DC 15 or something. So that's fine. Okay, yeah. Absolutely. Wanted to make sure we tracked that just in case.
25.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to spend 2 actions on healing Jib.
All right.
Can you delete the heal thing I accidentally clicked?
Delete the heal thing you accidentally clicked. I don't even see it.
Oh, I clicked on the heal text. It's fine, I think.
I'm not sure what thing you're seeing.
Don't worry about it then.
Is it in the chat? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it is.
It must just be something only you can see. All right, so yeah, you can go ahead and roll healing for you were targeting Jib, right?
Mm-hmm. For 13.
Nice, pretty decent.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And that's all my actions.
Right, because it's one action to trick, right? Is that how that works? All right, Ashay is up.
Alright. Let's see. Let's see how everybody's looking. Okay. I'm going to, let's see, move into the middle of the room.
All right.
And then I'm going to do a level 1 3. Wait, no, I can't do a 3 action because I moved. Grump.
Ryu, you did move.
Okay. Let's see. I will do a 2 action heal level 1 on Ogden.
All right. A decent chunk of healing. Nice. I mean,
It's lowest.
it's lowest, but it's still decent chunk since it was the 2 action version. All right. And now we go back to the knives. The knives are now only coming from the 3 southern pillars here, as they're just going to strike out one at Jib, one at Ayala, one at Ashay, since you're all the closest from left to right. And then, yes, strike. That's a 23 to hit Jib. I need to remember to target, but I think a 23 hits.
Yes.
All right, that is 4 points of force damage. And then against Ayala, that is a 24 to hit, which does hit.
That'll hit.
5 force damage. And then I forgot to retarget Ashay, but I'm assuming a 26 hits.
Yes.
So that is 5 points of force damage. Honestly, not the worst turn for it. It's done a lot worse on some of its turns here. And then Shib's turn.
Can you repeat how much damage I was dealt?
Absolutely. You took 4. Everyone else took 5. Well, everyone except Ogden. And Nocti, who took none.
I do be disabling.
It is your turn now, Jib. Here you blows. That's a hit. Decent start, decent start.
I thought it needed to do 12 to deal damage, no?
Well, if you're doing if you're doing flurry of blows, both hits get combined together for the purposes of
Oh, that's
resistances.
right. I forgot.
Yeah.
19 misses. I guess I will use my last hero point.
All right, get this pillar down. Ah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
So yeah, your first flurry of blows here just doesn't quite scratch the surface. You do manage a solid hit, and like a little bit of dust kind of settles on the other side of the pillar, but it doesn't actually crumble. That
Okay.
is also a miss,
Oh, damn.
sadly.
All right, one more.
So close to a nat 20 too. Ah, unfortunate.
All right. That
Good
is my turn.
tries, good tries. Ogden, you are up. 3 pillars are down.
I'm gonna use my hero point on that to try and get it. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. So go ahead and describe, Ogden, how you take down this pillar. How do you disrupt the magic here?
I feel like after taking down 3 of them, I just know how the runes are shifting and moving, and I don't know if I put something in it to disrupt it or like scratch it and the runes stop moving, or not sure how the runes are shifting, but
How's this for a suggestion then? So far, I think for this fight, you've been hit by the knives like pretty much every round, most rounds. But this time, it was Jib, Ayla, and Ashay. You were off in the distance because you fixed all the pillars in the north. So you rush in as it's firing at Ashay and just like stick some of your thieves' tools into wedge it so the runes can't fall back into place and they just pop out of their sockets. And the pillar is disabled. We're out of the encounter because you all can see that it tries to pulse 3 pulses of magic through the pillars once again, and it does a pulse by Jib, a pulse by Ashay, and then it does a pulse by Jib again, and that pillar by Jib just shatters once again, and then it does a pulse of magic by Ashay, and another pulse of magic by Ashay, and then the pillar starts to crack, and then a third pulse of magic by Ashay, and that pillar also shatters. And so finally, thanks to defeating enough of the pillars that the magic could not be contained in the remaining ones, all of the pillars have been defeated. And you all get 80 XP.
Seven 17, I think.
That's what I've got.
that's what I have.
Getting pretty close, level 4.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right. Ogden, do you think you can try? I'd like to keep going further into this thing if we can. I'm gonna patch Jib up in the next 10 minutes if you can work on that lock.
Yeah, did the doors open when we beat the pillars, or is it still closed?
It is still closed.
Okay, I will attempt a strength check on it.
You walk
Or-
up to it and you put your hand on it and it actually just starts to move. It appears it's no longer locked closed. So you can open it whenever you want.
Okay, I will probably wait
Okay.
for the healing to be done before I actually open it.
All right, Jib, you get 7 points of healing.
Nice.
While the healing is going on, can I look over the remains of the pillars and see if I think they'll start up again at any point?
Yeah, you could give me an Arcana check.
Blind.
You're pretty sure that these things will self-repair over time. How else would they have, stayed in working order in these tunnels that have been eroded over time if they didn't have some kind of repair magic? But you estimate you have a few hours at least.
All right. We've probably got a couple hours before these pillars start to repair themselves. We probably shouldn't stick around for too long, I think.
All right. Well, I think we're all patched up enough that we should be able to survive at least to go with something.
And this door is unlocked and we can just open it now. So once everyone's over here, we can do that.
All right. Can I take a listen at the door?
Sure. Give me a perception check. You can add your bonus. I think that's fine. Since you are listening for dangerous creatures.
Let's see. Perception check.
In this chamber, you can hear the sound of like whimpering, not of like a dog whimpering, of like a person just like kind of very very faintly crying. Uh, it sounds like a man just crying, and, like not having a good time, but not like loudly sobbing, just like kind of yeah.
I will whisper that to Jib and Ogden and say maybe let's not go in weapon swinging.
Well,
Might
if
be
there's
whoever it is who picked those mushrooms.
yeah, but if there's something keeping them in pain, we might need to go in weapon swinging.
Okay, fair.
To be fair, they probably got stabbed by a lot of these pillars.
I am a weapon.
All right, yeah.
Chip,
You
don't
guys
go
do-
swinging. All right, so do you want to open the door?
Yeah.
All right. There are some strangely flickering shadows in this chamber. You can peek in and you see a couple of like coffins and sarcophagi, sort of down near the southern end of the chamber that you can just barely see from your angle, Ogden. Like the corner of one right here. And like I said, the shadows are kind of weird. They don't seem to flicker quite with the light. They seem to be almost on a delay or something. They don't quite seem to be in the places they should be for where the light is angled. Strange magic in here. And that's
Can
all
I
you can
make
really
an
see.
occultism check to see if I can figure out what type of things could do that with the shadows or what could be lurking in the shadows?
Um, Potentially. I did actually look into this recently to figure out what occultism is actually meant for in this
Okay.
setting. And if you don't like it, we can maybe respec it. But essentially, occultism in Pathfinder is for like eldritch entities and things like that, like supernatural, nonsensical, extraplanar, like not extraplanar in the D&D sense, like oh they came from the plane of war, but like yeah, like eldritch entities that are unknowable kind of thing, if that makes sense. So I think there could be a chance for that here, but if you're seeing sarcophaguses and stuff, dealing with the undead, if that's what you're assuming, is all religion, basically, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I guess I'll make a religion check. I'm not quite as good at that.
Fair enough. So you're just trying to identify like what could be causing these weird sights in the room?
Yeah, I'm basically hoping I get a little bit of knowledge of what we're walking into.
Yeah, so you look in there and you see these weird shadows and things, and you don't recognize exactly what it could be, but it definitely does look like some undead fuckery to you. That's pretty much what you get out of it.
All right.
If we
Ogden,
are
if you want to hide, go ahead. I'm gonna walk in.
yep, I will roll the sneaky sneak.
And
All right.
I'm just gonna walk in.
So as you walk into the chamber, and you can see from a better angle, there's this like inky substance kind of oozing out of the sarcophagus at the southern end of the chamber. It's like an inky goo that's kind of dribbling out of it, and the whole thing is cracked open. There's two coffins on either side of the room that are actually upright up against the wall, so they're actually very large coffins. And what you can see is like the tops of them. Yeah. You can hear the whimpering coming from the other side of the sarcophagus to the south.
Can I see where the source of the whimpering is?
Whatever it is, it's obstructed by the sarcophagus.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a few steps forward.
All right. As you begin to enter the room and you get a little closer to the southern end, the inky blackness dribbling onto the floor sort of coalesces into a figure. Not that the goo necessarily rises, but it's more like more of it spills out of the sarcophagus, and as it does, it rises into more of a smoke-like shape than this wet liquid that's being splattered across the ground. And this shape twists into an almost humanoid shape. Not quite. It's got long claws. It's got sort of a facsimile of hair, but that almost looks more like a lot of tendrils of tentacles of shadow. And as it moves, the light seems to distort around it in weird ways, like it's not quite interacting with light in the way you would expect. It doesn't have any shade to it. It is a pure black darkness. This figure rises up, corrects their posture a little bit, and stands with a bit of grace in their posture before you. Who dares enter my chambers?
Nope, sorry, we just heard whoever it is whimpering and wanted to help.
Help! You can join them. They point a finger out towards you, and the two coffins on the side, the doors burst open, and some zombies pop out. And this figure we've represented down here, the figure points at you again, says, You will feel the wrath of Costin Starhand. Now die! And we will enter initiative.
Okay, do I need to roll another perception roll?
No, we can keep the one you had, I think.
Cool.
Start up the combat playlist again. So let's get some initiatives. I can reapply that perception check as Shay did, but and Ogden did a stealth, so that's easy. Then I'll just roll for all the NPCs, and then if I could get an Aella check of probably perception, unless you think you were sneaking.
Perception.
Perception
Not
works.
sneaky.
All right, so
That's what I'm-
fittingly, yes, unfortunately for Ogden, you kind of walked into the room a little bit while sneaking without much cover around you, so it kind of makes sense. We'll start with Shay. Fittingly, you walked into the room, you saw these threats, and while they were still getting themselves up and out of their coffin, you have a second act. What do you do?
Second level heal, starting my last spell slot.
All right.
3 action.
All right. Nice, just barely catching all of them.
Catching all of them and all my friends. So my friends get a little bit of a
True.
boost.
Oh.
And
Oh.
the enemies get a little bit of burniness.
Very efficient.
That's private.
I can reveal it. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, sorry. Alright. Everybody gets to heal 11 points. And the nasties take 11 points.
Indeed. You pull out this last bit of your power that you have available to you at this moment, this last bit of healing positive energy, and let it flood into the room. And you see these two zombies stumbling out of their their coffins actually, that are upright against the wall, and they just get like blown back into the coffins and pressed against the back of the coffins as bits of their flesh get like burned away in this yellow fire. And they are barely standing at this point, and they kind of stumble out onto their knees and hands in front of the coffins, barely moving. The figure in the back, the shadow, seems affected by this, but not nearly so affected. Just by way of being way more sturdy. And then, yeah, all of your allies get topped up, and that was a very good start to the combat. Ayala, your turn.
All right. Well, it's windy time again.
It's heckin' windy.
I turned it off for nothing.
I was curious before we started the session tonight, I was asking a question. What does that aura actually do? I forgot.
It makes it windy.
Okay, it just makes it windy, like, narratively. That's fun. Okay.
Yeah. There are upgrades you can take in certain kineticist aspects that let your aura do things, but for me, it's windy.
It's just windy. Okay.
I'm level 3.
That's funny. It's just funny that it even draws it on the map of like, this is the area that's windy.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Ogden's hair is looking particularly breezy at the moment.
Yes.
It's like a cloak of billowing, but doesn't take a bonus action. Okay, as part of that action, I'm gonna one action elemental blast lightning at the zombie that I can see.
Okay.
29 to hit.
Critical hit with a natural 20. Yeah, that'll hit.
For 4 damage.
You know, surprisingly, that's still enough. As you reach out, zap, and the zombie just poof into dust. It's gone.
It's the weakest crit I've ever seen. Oh.
Unfortunate.
And then I'll use my next 2 actions to cast 4 winds.
Ooh.
And I would like to target myself. Hold on, let me do ruler math. Nocti, Ashe, and Ogden.
All right.
Alright, so.
That's just everybody but Jib?
Yeah.
Okay. F in chat for Jib,
Wait.
but
I'm going to move back a little bit.
smart.
And then I get to move it twice because kineticist.
Yeah.
Then I will pass because I'm out of actions.
Is the half move speed rounded up or down?
Down.
Okay.
All right. Good turn. Jib, you're up.
Okay. Jib's gonna look at this inky looking figure. Does it look like it has like a physical form that he can grab?
Yeah,
Would
it
that
looks
be an
like
action
it's
to determine that.
I think recall knowledge would probably be applicable, yeah. Let's see, what kind of skill makes sense here?
I was going to attempt a nature roll on my turn.
This might sound really weird, but do a recall knowledge athletics, because you're trying to determine specifically if this is something you can inflict your athletics upon. Like, does this look like something? Have you ever tried to grapple something like this before? You know,
Fair.
I think that makes some kind of silly sense, but some sense.
I like it.
Question.
Yes.
I tried to use an oracle spell slot in the last combat with the other skeletons, but didn't land it. Do I still take the cursey thing?
You tried to use. Oh, right, used Cry of Destruction. I see that on your sheet
I
there.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just using it at all should increase your curse. Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Woo! More ashes. And yes, Jib, I'll. That is enough for you to understand something here. You do think this is something you could grab. It might be kind of tricky, like a little slippery, but you could do it.
Okay. In that case, he is going to use his second action to move over here and attempt to grab.
Right. Give me that athletics check again. Oh, and you're out of hero points, right?
I am.
Unfortunately, you run up to it, and it wasn't even the surface that caught you off guard. You reach out to grab this thing, and it just kind of dodges out of the way, like it just slinks back. It's so like look here, I can even do one of these. This creature is just so like spindly and quick. It just kind of slips out of the way before you even quite get to it in order to grab it. So you didn't manage it that time.
Why are you so slippery?
The undeath has its perks. I think you still have one action, unless you Gorilla Stanced already.
No, I think that's all three, right? Because Recall Knowledge move.
Oh, right, Recall Knowledge. Thank you. That is 3 indeed. All right, so you walked past the coffin, so this zombie is just gonna stumble out. I guess I narrated him. He kind of stumbled onto the floor on his hands and knees before, so he gets up, and he is going to swing his just fist at you. Just open claws swinging at you. And that'll be a miss. And that is all the actions the zombie gets on its turn. So then it is this shadowy creature's turn. And it is going to try to slap you with a shadowy claw. Of course, let me target you. That's probably a good idea. There we go. Boom! 26 to hit. That is a hit. You take 13 points of void damage. And then it's going to spend a second action. I need you... Oh no, this is no save. It just hits. Okay. After it hits you with its claw, there's like an after effect, an after image of the shadowy smoke through the air of its arm striking down at you again. And this one goes right through your block, even though you're ready for it. You become enfeebled 1 as this after image grabs your shadow off the floor and rips it away from you. Kind of absorbs it into this creature. And enfeebled, you take a penalty to strength-based rolls, including athletics, melee attacks, etc.
That's not good.
It's not the best, no. And that should automatically apply. And then... let's see. It is going to actually take that shadow it grabbed from you and spin it into a shadow spawn. Just kind of pulls your shadow and drops it down in front of you, and now you're fighting your own shadow as well. Yes. Okay, I think this is all tracking. I'm understanding how this works. And then it's going to try and strike you again with the multi-attack penalty. That is a hit for 10 points of void damage.
How did it get to do 4 things?
One of those things was a passive.
Okay.
When it grabs I just narrated it weird because I was misreading the text. When it grabbed the shadow, I first narrated it absorbed it into itself. What I should have narrated is it grabbed your shadow and turned it into an enemy. That's all one action. Yeah. So with that damage applied, it is Ogden's turn. There we go.
Okay, cool. I'm going to move. If I'm trying to move, like, to here, do I have to roll anything to try to dodge the zombie, or can I move 5, 10, 15? Like,
yeah, you could just go around.
skirt-
That's fine.
Okay. I'm going to move up here. I'm going to attack the zombie, attempt to hit it,
Go for it. That is a hit.
and there's 7 bludgeoning damage.
Boom! You slice it, and it again fades into dust as soon as you hit it.
And I'm going to attempt to slash at the shadow creature. That is a miss.
That is indeed a miss, yes.
But at least I'm not flanked
True.
right now.
And I'm going to roll that. Okay. So, Deshay, it's your turn.
Alright, I'm going to move up 20 feet. Okay, what can I do? Actually, I don't think I have to. Never mind. I'm going to not move. And cast Fire Ray, targeting the nasty.
Alright, the one near Ogden or the one near Jib? I guess you could just use the targeting thing too. Yeah, there we go. Targeting the nasty. I should, we'll say at this point they move into this actual square. I kind of put them in the middle to make it easy, but... Alright. Ooh, natural 20!
Crit.
That is a crit indeed.
Let's see. How do I roll it as a crit? Base damage?
Let's see. On a critical success, it does double damage. Just try rolling damage and I can double it if need be. And this is heightened already? Because you leveled up. Okay, so...
Yeah, so that's correct, I think.
17 and it will be doubled.
And persistent.
Right, because, wait, is this heightened or
Wait.
not? I forget how heightening focus spells work.
It is, but that would be...
Yeah, because it's 2d6 and then heightened to 4d6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it is double 17 damage. It is 34 damage. Right? Did I do that math right? Yeah, I think it's 34 damage.
I think so, because it didn't... There wasn't anything that let me select a crit function.
Yeah.
And then it does 2d4 persistent fire damage.
I think it'll do 1d4 persistent fire damage. Oh, you're
fire
right. It
damage
is
on
heightened. Yes, correct. Very nice. So, you strike out with this fire, and it does quite a lot of damage. See if this will... Let me just put 2 persistent 1d4s on it, because it'll do something. Or... No, that's fine. I'll just double it when it gets to it. Okay, so it's got it's on fire, you hit it with this fire, and it does quite a lot of damage to it as the creature kind of shrieks back and starts to try and pat the fire off itself, kind of pulls some of the inky goo off the ground and tries to put out the fire with that, all sorts of things.
Alright, and I am going to actually back up a tad so that Ayala
Understandable.
is out of the way of the swirling cloud of ash that is here.
I'm sure my wind is stealing some of it anyway, so I'm not totally free.
Yeah, but it's not like
Yeah.
choking and blinding you now.
All right. Ayla, it is your turn.
All right. Well, I'll use my first action to command Nocti. And Nocti's gonna come over here. And then I would like Nocti to bite.
Jump.
And a hit.
That is a miss.
Unfortunate. And then what do I want to do? Yeah, you know what? I'll do that. I would like to cast Four Winds.
Nice.
And I will target Ogden, Jib, Nocti, and Ashe, I guess.
For moving, there's not much I can. Not.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I still get to move anyway.
Okay. Well,
So I don't need to target myself this time.
I'm gonna move to the corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Nocti take a few steps back because then the enemies will have to come to her.
All right. I actually also have a miscalculation here. A correction. Because I clicked the wrong button on Foundry. So you're good. Your turn is fine. This all makes sense. But also, that fire Ashe set was way bigger than I thought, according to this math. I misread the resistances. And so, Ashe, you did all of this thing's health across 2 separate turns with your fire and your holy damage. And so it is fucking dead.
Alright.
As that 34 and 11 damage together across 2 separate turns is a hell of a lot, even through resistances. So, it is Ayla's turn. There is still Jib's shadow between Ogden and Jib there. And Jib, it is now your turn. You are facing your own shadow.
Why am I fighting Jib?
And thanks to the 4 winds, it is now flanked.
True. Jib, I think your shadow echoes those words back at you in your voice.
Interesting. How do I do that? What? Where? Oh, okay. I'm going to Gorilla Stance.
All right.
Does he also Gorilla Stance?
It's not his turn yet.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I don't need to grab him because he's already off guard. Flurry of blows.
Flurry of blows. So many nat 20s. What the fuck is going on?
Let's fucking go.
How many nat 20s is that tonight? 4 or 5? Lot. Either way, we love it though. Holy shit. Yeah, that's a bunch of damage.
Earnings. Enfeebled my ass. Alright, and he'll make his second strike.
Alright. Yeah, you go to swing at this one. And, this one's a little slower than the one you saw before. Maybe it hasn't fully formed yet or something. And so you swing, and you just hit it directly in the face with that first hit, but then you miss with your second hit. And that's 3 actions, right? Did you flurry of blows, or is that...
I do have one more action.
Okay, because that was a flurry. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I am going to attempt to do one more attack.
Good try, good try. Now it's its turn. And it's gonna punch ya. Whoops, nope, wait, that's the wrong stat block. That was the original. This one is gonna punch ya. 16 to hit, I believe, is a miss. Yes.
Yep.
Let me target you. There we go. It's gonna try again. Oh, it missed. It's just a little too slow for you this time. It just keeps on swinging at you. But obviously, it made the amateur mistake of it. It didn't gorilla stance first, so that's its problem probably. But it's gonna try again, and it misses again. It's missing by 1 on every single roll. Well, I guess it got a 16, then a 17, and a 17. So many misses. And so as you two are locked in this just flurry of attacks back and forth at each other, Ogden has snuck around behind in a flanking position. What do you do, sir?
I'm gonna stab, or at least attempt to.
Hell yeah.
There's one stab attempt.
That is a hit, thanks to the flanking.
And there is damage.
Boom.
And then hit.
Seems that your weapon kind of slid through it a little bit, like the slippery inkiness of it made it hard to really find purchase on. But you did do some damage to it.
Well, let's try a bludgeoning weapon now. Oh, that missed.
Indeed miss.
I'm gonna attempt the bludgeoning weapon again. Hey, that's a hit.
That is a hit. Once again, thanks to
And
flanking.
there's 8 bludgeoning damage.
All right, once again, it just seems hard to really hit this thing, and you need like really big sources of damage to do too much of it. But you are chipping away at it. It is starting to look hurt. And that was it, right? Because you missed one? Yes, okay. Shay, back to you.
Alright, let's do some ruler work just to check. Alright, first action, stride. Sorry-ish, Ale and Nocti.
Okay.
F. The ashes get swirled up in Ayala's vortex.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right.
That is a hit.
Five damage. Fire.
This one, you threw fire out at the other one, and you got a very big hit, and it just burst into flame and got completely engulfed in that fire. But this one, you throw the fire out at it, and it just kind of, the bolt of fire kind of plinks into the inky blackness and just disappears entirely. Like you shot fire into water or something, like it just disappears. Unfortunate on that one. The minimum damage roll did not help you out. Anything else? I think that's 3 actions, right?
Yep.
Ayla!
Hi. Quick question. Can I break up Nocti's action?
What do you mean by that? What is the specific?
So, if I take an action to command Nocti, that gives Nocti 2 actions. Can I then use one of Nocti's actions and then go back and use one of my actions and then command Nocti to use the second action?
Oh, yes, I think so.
Cool. I've got a plan. First, I'm gonna have Nocti, or command Nocti to move. And then I'm gonna move. And then I'll use Nocti's second action to scratch. 9 to hit.
Critical miss.
He's doing her best.
Was that the second
She's
critical
like-
miss from Nocti in this combat?
In a row, yeah.
Oh, well, poor Nocti.
She's all
She's-
kind of disheveled.
He's all tuckered out from knocking down that door.
Maybe
And then-
she's still trying to shake the ash out of her fur.
And then I'll use my third action to make a lightning blade and cut at the thingy.
All right. Zap zap.
25 to hit.
That is a hit.
It should also be flanked, right?
You should, I mean, it did apply automatically, yeah.
Okay.
Or either way, it was enough. It did.
3 damage.
Zap! Disappears into the blackness with no effect.
Uh-oh. And that's all my actions.
Jib! Time for the jib jab.
Good job.
Ooh, not quite enough, unfortunately. Starting to really feel that enfeebled status.
Very cool.
Two more times.
Nat 20!
Let's go.
That'll do it.
You're welcome.
Sixth fucking nat 20 of the night. Oh my god! Holy shit. Okay, that will be so much damage. I'm just in its face again, and just kind of crumples backwards a bit. It's starting to like diminish in stature a little bit. Like you've grown in your gorilla stance, and this other jib is just kind of like retreating into a smaller and smaller form as more and more of this inky goo that it makes up its body gets knocked away from it as you hit it. It kind of splatters over the walls and stuff. There's not enough of it to maintain a full form anymore, but it's still alive for now. I think you still have an action, 2 actions, 1 action, I don't know, something.
That was 3 attacks.
Yeah, so
I
be
have one more
flurried.
action.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Nope. Good try. All right, it's gonna try to attack back. This is the only thing it can do, and it is hyper fixated on Jib. Blam, miss. Blam, hit. 13 points of void damage to Jib. It screams at you. There can only be one.
Did you look at it?
And then it's gonna swing again.
No.
Gonna really try and send you down. That's another hit.
Ooh.
8 points of void damage to Jib.
Right after yelling that he is the superior Jib, Jib goes down.
Yep.
Oh.
As you two have been just slugging back and forth at each other, like diminishing each other bit by bit, and Jib goes down, and then this thing standing over, doing like a bit of a victory pose, just fists up in the air, doing monkey screams, and then it is Ogden's turn.
Was there one of my weapons that seemed to do more damage, or were they both just kind of meh?
It kind of, both kind of met. It was the same thing that happened to Ashay and Ayala, where it seemed like this substance you're hitting just has so much like absorption factor to it that you really need to hit it hard to have any effect. Like Jib did with that big 20, or the like Ashay did with the 34 damage hit. Like big hits like that are they're good.
Okay, I'm going to drop my mace and take out my rapier, because that does more damage. And I'm going to attempt first attack. 25.
That is a hit.
Wait, does it? I thought.
What?
I thought the rapier was a D8, not a D4.
What do you mean? Are you looking at the damage roll now?
It's got the deadly D8 something.
Yeah, but for some reason I hit damage and it shows up as a 1d6 plus 4.
It looks like it is a d6, yeah. It's the deadly D8 trait though, which means when you crit, it adds an extra D8.
Ah, I didn't know that. Well, I wish I hadn't have changed it out then.
Yeah, rapier is 1d6 with a deadly D8, according to Archives of Nethys.
Well, there's 5 damage.
Stab just doesn't seem to do too much.
And then I'm gonna attempt another stab with the spark blade, because it's the same, and that's a miss, because I'm clumsy.
Yep. Ashay, you see this triumphant monkey standing over your monkey friend.
Okay, I took a feat that gives me a 3rd focus point.
Aha, perfect.
It says the major curse is not supposed to be something until 11th level.
Oh no.
What happens if I use my 3rd focus point?
Where does it say that? What's the wording?
Let's see. If you roll down to... Where is it?
Let's see. Curse.
It's under
Regular
Mystery
curse.
of Ash, Curse of the Creeping Ashes. Major Curse, parentheses, 11th.
Right. What was the feat you took?
It's one where I spec'd into a different one so I could get the Fire Domain spell as well.
Yes, so the domain acumen. Okay.
Yep, increases the number of focus pool points by 1.
Yes. Let me just do a quick Google. Let's just check.
Okay.
And this would be the major curse, right? Is that the level of curse it would be called? There's so many rules on Oracle. A greater curse.
Yes, major curse.
A major
Not greater,
curse. Okay.
major.
Uh, okay, no, you cannot access Major Curse until 11th level by any means.
Okay.
So you'll stay at your other level of Curse, I guess? Moderate?
But I don't break and cause a breaking with my deity.
I don't think so. I think you just stay at moderate. Unless you see some rules otherwise that say something weird. Right, because where does the actual curse...
Immediately after casting a revelation spell while under the moderate effect of your curse, you are overwhelmed.
Okay. What does overwhelm do?
Basically I can't cast or sustain any revelation spells. Basically I burn myself out.
Gotcha, okay.
Until I sleep.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, you're at the point where you're out of focus spells and spell slots anyways, so it tracks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do the thing.
Pew pew! That is a hit. Nice. So, Shay, you walked into this room calmly. You saw these undead creatures in here, and you just invoked this holy energy and then started throwing fire around. This is the most you've ever channeled from your curse before, ever. And it's you're seeing devastating results here as you are just knocking out these high-level shadowy entities one by one, almost annihilating the zombies just in passing, just by being in the room. Can you just narrate us real quick through how you take out, how do you want to do this to this last remaining shadow, and also what effect does it have on you as you become overwhelmed by this?
So yeah, basically from within this swirling dust storm of ash that I am creating, and since I didn't move, it's made difficult terrain in that sphere around me. It just kind of, all of the ash coalesces and ignites and shoots at the thing, and then I collapse to the floor.
The shadow burns
In the
away.
midst of the pile of the ash, and now covered in ash too.
That makes sense. So you all are left with a monkey on the floor and a Shay on the floor.
Alright.
What are you doing?
Wait, I can't cast. I can still cast cantrips, right?
I didn't find the overwhelmed rules you're talking about, so if you can read those.
Let's see. You are overwhelmed. I can't cast or sustain any revelation spells. I effectively lose access to those spells.
So are your cantrips revelation spells?
No.
Those are just focus point spells, right? So yeah. So you're good on, I guess, cantrips.
Okay. I am going to crawl over to Jib and cast Stabilize.
Jib loses the dying condition and gains the wounded condition.
I'd like to start fixing Jib up if possible.
Of course. Ogden, now that you're around there, you've got your allies on the other side tending to each other's wounds and all of that. Yes, you on the back of the sarcophagus find that figure who was crying in the room when you entered.
And then I'm just gonna lean against the wall over here.
All right, yeah, you back away and just slump, exhausted. And it's a true exhaustion, like an exhaustion of your soul and your body. It is quite a feeling. But Ogden,
My
you
skin's
see,
pretty ashy at this point too.
I bet.
Like
and
I'm just kind of grayscale.
you are like
Everything's washed out.
grayscale and covered in ash, and your skin is ashy, and you're like raining ashes all around you. It is, yeah, quite a sight.
It looks like I'm gonna do the Voldemort disintegrate at any minute now.
Rip.
But I'm just kind of barely holding a shape.
So that's Shay's state as she collapses into the back of the room, and as Ayla spends some time patching up Jib, Ogden, you see a half-orc man huddled back here behind this sarcophagus. His clothes are all stained with this inky black substance that was leaking from the sarcophagus. He's just kind of sitting there huddled, like in a fetal position, kind of hands over his head, just trembling and shaking, kind of rocking back and forth, clearly terrified and hasn't really realized that you're even there.
Is it just the inkiness, or is there like blood with it too?
Just the inkiness, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I would probably put my weapons away and like put one hand on his shoulder and speak to him in Orcish and say, "Are you the one who was outside picking the mushrooms?"
You put your hand on him and he like flinches away and kind of like looks up at you, like ready to try and either scurry away or something. But once he sees that you're not, a zombie or a shadow or a skeleton or any of these undead things, and you actually have flesh and some color to your flesh. You're clearly flesh and blood, not just flesh, not just bone, not just shadow, any of these weird things. You are a human. He looks up at you and he just like leans forward and like grabs around your ankles and just starts like sobbing into your leg, like into your calf, basically. Like, oh my goodness, oh, somebody came for me. How did you find this place? Oh thank goodness.
Are you hurt at all? Those void creatures seemed to do nasty things.
Hmm. Yes, no, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not cut anywhere, but I don't feel right.
Do you know where you're from? Do you know why you were here?
I'm I'm Philrook from Otari.
Oh, well, hello. We are adventurers from Otari as well, and we were sent by was it Magaloy?
Yes.
We were sent by Magaloy to get some copper mushrooms.
Oh, that's why I was here too. So foolish of me. Oh, I almost died for this. He's still just like crying and kind of shaking. I heard Magloy was looking for those mushrooms, so I decided I was going to strike out on my own. I'd make these, I'd collect these mushrooms. I'd make a name for myself. I'd get a reputation. I'd get a reward from Magaloy. I'd bring them back to town. It would be great. It'd be a good surprise. And then, well, that part wasn't so foolish. I saw the hole in the wall, and I just curious. I'm never getting curious another day in my life, not once more.
Well, it was a stroke of luck then, because we saw your footprints in the mud, and we decided to check it out.
Oh, curse the rains that opened this tunnel, but bless the rains that made the mud to keep my footprints.
Well, you are safe now. I don't believe there's anything else in here.
I can't believe I thought myself to be a fledgling adventurer coming out and getting these mushrooms out in the forest by myself when you all are in town doing actual adventure things. I see now this is not my lot in life. I will go back to chopping wood.
Do you work at the Giant's Wheel?
Yes, and other places around town, helping fell trees mostly. I figured the
Well-
forest would be my domain. I'm out there so often. What could the danger be? But it turns out the danger came from a far more sinister place.
After talking to him for a little bit, is it a diplomacy check to see if he's being truthful?
It would be a perception check using the sense motive action.
Perception check.
A secret perception.
Alright, and while this is going on, I'm going to sit in the ashes and just meditate. And if I can spend 10 minutes doing that, that'll refocus and decrease the effect of my curse.
Okay.
And it'll increase my focus pool, but I can't use it because I burned
Oh,
myself out.
that makes sense. Okay. So you'll be meditating while Ayla's doing some medical work.
Yeah.
And Ogden.
But
Yeah,
then
sorry.
I won't be carrying a cloud of ash with me everywhere.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So Ogden, you don't see any reason this guy would be truthful. If he is being deceptive to you, this is the best acting you have ever seen in your goddamn life.
Okay, I kind of figured that, but and I'll kind of like put my hands down to him and try to get him to stand up and kind of collect himself. And I feel like we might walk around the sarcophagus and he would probably see Ayla patching up Jib, and it's like, yeah, so they did some damage to us too, but if you would like to, we can bring you back to Otari with us.
Yes, thank you. I cannot thank you enough.
Meanwhile, Nocti's trying to roll around on the ground to get the soot stains out of her fur.
Aw. During this time, and let's skip ahead a few minutes while you finish these 10-minute downtime things. During that time, you notice the inky substance that was spilling out of the sarcophagus starts to kind of reshape itself, but not into the dangerous figure you saw before. It just kind of starts to reshape itself around Jib and around this half orc, Philric, as their shadows come back to them. Their stolen shadows return. And go ahead and give me that healing roll, and Deshay, you can finish your meditation as well.
18.
That's a pass.
For 13 healing.
All right, Jib, so you are finally woken up, and your shadow has returned to you, and there's no longer a threat.
Where's the Jib? Where's the other Jib?
The other Jib is back underneath you, I think. Which way is... I'm just gonna point to whichever way Jib's shadow is on the ground and say,
It's
right about there.
probably away from Ashay, because Ashay's got the brightest torch.
He's gonna start squaring up against his own shadow.
The shadow squares up back because it's your shadow.
I told you I would be the superior Jib.
I don't think it's dangerous anymore, Jib.
What?
I think it stopped trying to kill you. For now.
Oh. It's still mocking me.
I guess I should ask, did the orc respond to me in Orcish or in common?
In common.
Okay.
And he's a half orc.
Yeah, I just kind of made the assumption, but
Yeah, it's all good. He probably knows Orcish as well, but no, it's he just responded back in common.
well, I just didn't know if he responded in Orcish because no one else would understand what we were saying.
Oh, he definitely. I mean, it definitely seems like he just uses common more often, just living in Otari. So those 10 minutes have passed. You've got Philrook ready. He's like finally calmed down a little bit at least. He's still kind of shivering and clearly not in a great state mentally or physically, but he's like able to walk now. You've got him up and stuff. So what do you all do?
I would definitely check out the sarcophagus to see if there's like anything weird in it still, or if
Sure.
it seems dormant now.
So there's like a crack in the side where that substance was leaking out of. It appears that substance is no longer leaking out of it. It's sort of all dispersed at this point, or has returned to people's shadows or whatever. But and then it's got a lid you could pry open as well if you want to like actually see inside. Unless you were asking for more like a roll call knowledge type deal. If you're looking for finding loot, then that was my answer. But
well, I was more trying to find out if anything bad will show up again, but if there is loot, like
Yellow's more interested in trying to get the sarcophagus open and see what's in it.
I have a crowbar, I think.
So I won't make you roll for that.
Wizards always poking their noses into everything.
We're naturally curious. We can't help it.
So you dig in the crowbar, you get a good ankle on it, and you pry the thing open, and just a little last poof of that smoky substance flows out of it again, but otherwise, you just kind of wave your hand in front of your face and disperse it. But inside, there does appear to be a body, and this body was buried with a bit of treasure. You can see there are, alongside this corpse, which is like mummified, 3 black opals worth 15 gold pieces each. Just give you that so we can honestly make that easy and just throw the money into the party inventory if you want. There is let me double check I get this description right. There is a statuette that is 1 inch tall of a rat. You can have that. And it appears to be made of a very like shiny, almost golden, kind of yellowy gold material. And there is a belt which has a silver buckle.
Can I roll crafting?
Absolutely. On the which one?
The belt.
Yeah, go for it.
I could maybe do detect magic.
Yeah, if you have that cantrip.
No, but I have I can use Arcana checks to identify magic.
Ah, yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah,
have a shared identification.
yeah, Ogden, from your crafting check, you can see that these things are crafted in a high quality manner, and they would be fit for enchantments and stuff. But you don't really find out anything about the enchantments. Ashay with Arcana stuff might have some more ideas though. Which one was that a roll for? The statuette or the belt?
Let's do the statuette. And if I roll a crit failure, I get a normal failure. If I would misidentify a cursed item because of a success but not critical success, I just can't identify it instead.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, you recognize this as a pyrite rat. It is essentially a statuette that you can turn into a real companion temporarily. And then it would need to return back to a statue again for a little bit of time, and then recharge, and then you could turn it into a rat again. So it's an occasional temporary rat companion you could have, essentially.
All right. Now let's check on the belt.
This is a belt of good health. It increases your maximum and current hit points by 4, and if you remove the belt, it immediately decreases both of those by 4 to just undo the effect.
So if you have less than 4 health and you take the belt off, you just pass out?
Correct.
All right. Well, I will explain that and say whoever wants them can have them.
I don't know how well Rat Friend would go with Nocti.
It does follow standard
Rat.
animal companion rules in that you need to do the Nocti thing, spend 1 action to give it 2 actions, but it can do stuff, those giant rat things.
Oh, it's a giant rat?
Yeah, giant in the sense that it's larger. It's Nocti sized. It's not
like a-
tiny rat sized.
Like I say this aloud, and then Nocti wiggles a little bit, preparing to pounce on hearing the word rat.
It is a rat statue.
If nobody else wants it, I can take it.
All right, let's just throw that on Ashay for now then. We can always transfer it later if someone else really wants to claim it. Did that actually go in your inventory?
I don't think
It did.
so.
Okay, it's in your
Where
equipment.
is it?
Pyrite rat.
Equipment. Oh, yes. Okay.
And who wants the belt?
I think it would be
Oh.
best on probably Jib or Ogden, right?
Yeah, one of those who were always patching up.
Don't forget to heal that 13 points, Jib.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Oh, and while we're not forgetting things, 80 XP for killing all the enemies, and an additional 50 XP for getting Philrook out alive.
Ooh.
130 XP.
847? Wait.
Yes.
Okay.
Very close. Remind me what the belt does.
It gives you 4 maximum hit points, essentially.
That's dope.
Was it
Yeah.
847 or 857?
847. Because it's 130 XP total. Well, you guys are pretty close in terms of
Jib has a
how
little
much
bit.
you can
Yeah,
take.
Jib has a little
Yeah.
bit less AC, but I don't know. It's otherwise pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also already have like the hat of disguise, and I've taken most of the weapons, so I would feel bad taking the belt as well.
None of the rest of us can use the weapon.
Well, you could take the runes off and scrap them and get stuff that would work for you. Because I think there's like spellcasting items that can add runes and I don't know. Runes are like the primary progression method. There's ways to scrap them and reuse them.
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, Jib, you tend to go up and yell in the face of things. This will make it so you can punch him a little longer.
That's what I do.
Let's see. So we
Yeah,
toggle
and
it to
I
warn.
would say with the AC
Yeah.
being lower, Jib is probably better to have it.
Jib has a shiny belt. It's got a silver belt buckle with like a red heart in it.
This is my championship belt for being the better Jib,
Yes, true.
even though he lost.
Well, he outlasted the other Jib.
True,
He's
and
here and it isn't.
you started the fight after taking 2 really solid hits from the not Jib shadow, so makes sense.
True.
Oh, it's like even the
So, anything else in this chamber, or are you going to lead Philric out and back to town?
I guess check the other coffin sarcophagi.
Yeah, you look inside, and they don't appear to be nearly as fancy. It appeared to be just kind of a couple guards that were, or like something like that. Just like soldiers that were assigned to also live here with this, or not live here, die here, be buried here with this clearly very important seeming figure that was buried here. I'm not sure anyone's figured out or done any rolls to figure out stuff about the person who is buried here, but they introduce themselves as Karsten Starhand, and you can see those hands on the sarcophagus with stars on them, and the knives that were flung at you from the pillars earlier were shaped like stars, and there's some sort of like family crest type stuff you can see in here.
What
I was
kind
gonna-
of recall knowledge check would I need? Society?
I
Did
think
I convince
society.
you for Underworld?
You cannot convince me for Underworld, unfortunately, but I think society would make the most sense. Yeah, Shay can't really remember anything specifically. If anyone else wants to try.
I was gonna
Okay.
try once I handed over the belt and stuff.
No promises.
Where is...
Ayala can't really remember anything. This
I probably won't either.
doesn't sound familiar to your studies. Ogden. You know that the Starhand family they come from a long, and you know what, coincidentally, Jib also knows this exact same fact. The Starhand family,
It's either a 1 or a 20.
the Starhand family are a long line of demigods that used to live in this area, and they would just, they died out a long time ago, but they're just demigods, and that's why they're so important.
They're confident in what they're saying, right?
I mean, they both believe it.
Some guy in my ship told me that too.
Do I believe them? Like, do I believe that I wouldn't have heard of that with all the time I spend in the library?
Unfortunately, you failed your recall knowledge check, so you have no indication.
Oh no.
I mean, like, demigods and stuff are a thing, I'm pretty sure, right? So, yeah.
You should
I mean-
probably ask a local town historian just to make sure.
I mean, we just found out that they were demigods. I believe it.
Fair. It would be cool if there was more to the story, though, like what they do.
Demigod things.
They existed and we're demigods, and that was enough.
All right, so back to
Enough to
Otari.
get them cursed into ghost form?
Yes, well, that's just demigod things, you know?
Okay. Eshe is skeptical.
That is fair.
Ayala is confused.
Yeah, wait, just
Most
out of...
of her interaction with deity stuff is you get a boon and you pay a price.
Philrook also believes the demigod story. I think there were demigods in the areas a long time ago. Yeah, our family passed down that story.
Um,
They must have sold their soul to the devil or something.
They be like demi-devils, then?
Maybe, or demigods from an evil god, pledged to an evil god.
They have those?
They have those? Yes.
Philrook is bewildered by this.
Like,
All
I
right.
didn't think the god of murder would be, like, super friendly and nice, did you?
They have one of those?
Yes.
I thought all the gods were like about, nature and bravery and all that.
Well, the ones we like to worship are because we like those things. There's also gods of, like, things like murder and wealth and overwhelming consumption.
Huh. Why'd they make those?
Uh,
Seems short-sighted.
they kind of made themselves, I think, and then they made us.
They could do that?
Let's just go back to Otari.
Yes, I've had
I'm
enough
not a priest.
mind-blowing
Jib also
experiences
just
recently.
goes, they can do that?
And Ashay's just like coughing ash and brushing ash off her skin.
So let's get out of here. I never want to see this place again.
Before we leave, can I borrow some of your ash, Ashay?
Yeah, one sec.
Everyone
I'll
gets
go over and
covered
like
in ash.
scrape some ash off of my skin into my hand.
Thank you. I figure we should like leave some warnings, tunnel near the entrance that other people don't come in here and get stabbed to death by pillars.
Fair enough. Yeah, this shedding ash thing doesn't seem to be going away, so you're welcome to use as much of it as comes off.
If I wanted to attempt to write using the ash on the wall, in the
Don't dead,
entrance,
open inside.
would that be a roll, or
Nah, I
because
think
it is
that's
just
fine.
loose ash? Okay.
You got a large enough surface to write on. It's not like you're trying to be super precise with it. I think that's fair enough. You just write some words.
And I am making enough ash to reduce my speed by 10 feet and give me a -1 constitution.
That's a lot of ash.
That's the minor curse.
Yep.
It's just all in the 5 feet around me and not in the 30 feet around me or 10 feet.
I'm sorry if this is terribly rude, but did you piss off one of the evil gods?
No, I just took too much power from one of the gods.
Are you a demigod?
No, I'm an elf.
Oh,
Can elves not be demigods?
Well, presumably I would be a demigod if I was a demigod.
I don't really know how that works. Would you be like elf god? Would the demi part be elf?
I don't know.
We
I
should-
was born to elf parents. I am not immortal. I've gone unconscious a couple times.
Well, clearly these people were not immortal either. He gestures over the slain enemies.
All right, let's
We
go
should
home.
we should ask the historian in Otari. Yes.
Yes, we also need to get out because I think Ayla said those pillars can fix themselves if we stay here too long.
Oh, yes. Let's go. Let's go right now. And so you leave. Da na na na.
Did we take any mushrooms?
Yes, you grab the basket of mushrooms on the outside, and you head back to Otari, which takes you another hour's journey or so. But
Might take a little longer because my speed is permanently reduced by 10 around.
true, and I think based on timing with this journey and the time you spent there and all the fighting and all the resting and all that, I believe it is just starting to become night. Like the sun has just finished going down, and it's kind of the twilight hours when you actually arrive in Otari.
That's good. I don't need any more stairs.
Does it disappear when you get far enough away from it, or are you just going to leave a ton of dust in the town?
Well, normally it doesn't pile up unless I do too much, which I already did, but then I focused a little bit and was able to pull it back in. So yeah, the dirt might be a little paler on the path, but shouldn't leave piles of ash behind.
Well, that's good to know. Don't want someone waking up and thinking something burned down.
I also don't smoke or create smoke. I just slough ash off. Anyways, you guys go ahead and go in. And then I get interrupted by a coughing fit and just like stand to the side and hack up some ash for a sec and then say, I'll stay out here.
So where are you entering? Sorry. Notes. You're going to a specific...
Magaloid her mushrooms.
If it is open.
I'd say it would still be open. Alright, so yeah, you head down to the Crow's Casks, and you find Magaloy there. It's still early in the evening, and it is a tavern after all, so, there's a... it doesn't close too early because people come in for drinks and all that. And there's probably a few customers there when you walk in. And once you get back to town, I'll also say that Philrook will depart and find his own home, thanking you profusely for saving his life, saying he'll never be able to repay you. He's gonna change. He's gonna go back to his old ways and never try this ambition again. But he will work hard as a worker here in town. And again, multiple times thanking you profusely, and then heads off for some much needed rest and probably a good bath. But you all head into the Crow's Casks, and there's a few other customers there who are currently just drinking. And the vibe of the Crow's Casks late at night like this, when it's people are actually here for drinks and stuff, it's not so much like a rowdy tavern where people are like really getting into the drinking and stuff. Magaloy makes some like nicer quality drinks. Like she makes some fancy tasting drinks, some experimental stuff, this homegrown, homemade, the local craft beverages basically. And so the people here are all like sampling different tastes and like comparing tasting notes with each other and like trying to make commentary on the drinks they're having. And it's a fairly like a fairly chill atmosphere when you enter, and Magaloy is happily serving more drinks and making more stuff. When you enter, she'll see you and wave you over to the counter. Yes. How did your quest go?
It was interesting.
I see you are all a little more weary than I expected. Gesturing at some of you who have some ashes on you, some scrapes and bruises, and cuts in your clothing that have yet to been repaired and things like that.
I did stay outside, by the way.
Yes,
The
but I
mushrooms
imagine
were-
a lot of you still have just ashes kind of staining your clothing in various spots, just because that would make some sense.
Yeah. Shay's doing a really nice impersonation of a dusty homeless person with a cough.
Oh, rip.
Nocti stayed outside in solidarity, meowing quietly up at Shay.
Aw, very, very cute.
Yeah,
And then probably blinking in annoyance when Shay coughs ash at her on accident.
Aw, just a little cloud of
Aw.
ash. So, you find the mushrooms, yes?
They were a little bit more dangerous than expected. But yes, we found some mushrooms.
I see. Well, perfect. I hand these over. I just finished brewing up your reward. It'll keep for quite a while. No need to worry about that. But here, these should be interesting. I used some of those peppers you brought me. And you can see Megaloy is starting to really light up with excitement when discussing this beverage. She hands over 2 vials. they're not like drinks in a mug or anything. They're like potion vials, and they're very, very tightly stoppered. Here, spicy tonic, capsaicin tonic.
What?
It's very spicy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See.
So spicy, even your breath will be spicy.
My eyes just widen a little bit in fear.
So spicy, your breath will be so spicy. You might even be able to breathe clouds. Yes, here. Take them. And thank you.
Thank you, I think.
So who wants these potions? Mechanically, they are extremely painfully spicy to drink. But then for an hour, you can belch clouds that are like smoke clouds that can conceal you and stuff and do fire damage and all sorts of stuff.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of do that without the pain.
That sounds delicious.
There we go.
Yeah, Jib gets first dibs.
They sound like very Jib drinks.
Yeah, let's give Jib the tonics then.
Yay!
I mean, yeah,
There you
that's
go.
basically my spells and my curse.
I love it.
Yeah, so you can make smoke clouds that do fire damage, basically, when you drink these.
Do we have to hold Jib back from unstrapping and drinking one of them right away?
Probably, as you'll notice, he'll unstop her one and go to sniff it.
Be very careful. Wash your hands. Do not get any in the eyes.
Thank you for the tips.
Careful, there's monsters.
Thank you for the mushrooms. Any other business in the crow's casks?
Ayla has just no idea how to interact with Megaloy.
Megaloy's a little weird. She clearly cares more about alchemy than people, but enjoys sharing alchemy with people. And so she goes right back to serving other customers more drinks and stuff.
Beast.
And so is it when we wake up the next day that we get our information and sword, or is it the day after?
It would be tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
You could go in and collect that stuff. Do we want to just skip ahead to that then? Everybody go have a nice night's sleep?
Nap does sound good.
Yeah. I can rent a room for another night.
Possibly.
Well, that's a lot better than going back to our place tonight.
Right, that is a long trip.
All right, back to the Rowdy Rockfish.
All right. So y'all return for a good night's sleep. Y'all can hit those rest buttons, get those hit points back, and whatever other resources, and reducing curse levels, the whole thing. Recharging wands, it does many things. Very useful button.
What ones? I just have spell slot.
Right? Yeah. Recharging
Singular spell slot.
Recharging spell slots. Yeah, spell slots. Yeah. Trick spell slot. New action. So you wake up the next morning, you're all feeling a lot better rested, especially Jib, who had 2 like long persistent effects on him that should now both go down.
All right, I am going to get up early and wake Jib up and start poking him. AKA treating wounds.
Yes.
I was a little slow. Sorry, I had to type it. Otherwise, I could save you.
So, right, I forgot we don't just go back to full.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you make it public again? Sorry, I
You
forgot
got
to switch it over.
a critical success.
Okay.
Oh, cool. There's a reroll with hero points thing if you right-click a roll. That's cool. I didn't even know that.
All right, Jib, you get 24 points of healing.
Sheesh. That's pretty big.
Dang.
Thank you very much.
All right, what are you at now? 46?
Yeah, I'm just 3 shy of full.
If we sit here for an hour, we can get you up to full. Ayla, can you do breakfast this morning?
I can try.
Or Ogden?
No, I'll try.
I don't know how much Ogden cooks.
I mean, I can cook pretty
Too
well.
late. I would like to attempt to make breakfast.
Give me a crafting roll.
Blind?
No, we can all see this one. Everyone can smell the cooking. Ayla, what do you make for breakfast based on that roll? Eggs with the shell in it, like things like that. Like, what are you?
Burnt toast, burnt eggs, and
Oh no!
burnt something else that's
Use like
indistinguishable.
way too much of one spice and no other spices. Like
Ayla, you didn't put any of Jib's potions in this, did you?
He was about to say, it's delicious. I didn't go to hot sauce though.
Didn't Jim drink those last night?
He just sniffed them.
We stopped him from drinking them last night.
Yeah, when
Okay.
Jib, when you like unstoppered them before you even drank them, like a visible like vapor would like escape the chamber slowly, like stink lines in a cartoon, just like floating out of the top of the thing. Like it is clearly quite a powerful, intense flavor in there.
All right, so Jib will be up to full
Nice.
because over the hour it's 24 doubled, which you don't need, but you get.
Lots of
Although,
healing.
do we take damage from the breakfast?
No, I'm not gonna make you take damage from the breakfast, but that was a funny roll. Maybe some of you sneak down and grab some biscuits from like the actual tavern owner and stuff. You know, there's options. And you'll get out of it. Some of you have to fake eating the food, like really good, or you just like pile it on the floor next to you.
Jim is the only one who actually thinks it's delicious.
I try to eat it, but she keeps like checking to make sure she's not like exuding ash as she's eating.
Because it's all burned. That's funny.
She's pretty used to the taste of ash in her mouth, but not normally from something else.
That is unfortunate. So, since we only have a few minutes left in the session, let's speed run. Boom, you go to Blades for Glades. Boom, you get your sword. Let me put that back on Ogden's character sheet. Just so you have it. That was more of a mechanical downtime thing anyway, so we don't need to linger on it too much. But Smoking Sword should now have all the runes on it you wanted. Unless I messed it up. But yes, potency and striking should be what you needed. Very cool. So with that all gathered, breakfast eaten, are you planning to head to the Crook's Nook to pick up the information you ordered previously, or are you going to head anywhere else in town? What's the plan here?
I would probably go to the Crook's Nook to get the information, and maybe as a party go to ask the historian about the demigod.
Yeah, I'd say you can stop by the Cook's Nook. We'll just like browse in the market and not buy anything. And then once you've got your information, we can head up to Odd Stories, I think.
So Ogden goes alone to the Crook's Nook in order to get this information, and you give the secret knock, or you buy the secret drink on the the secret menu that it gives you access to the the actual Thieves Guild area, the Osprey Club, up in the attic of the Crook's Nook. You're let upstairs, and Yinazmira is sitting on her normal elevated chair, not quite a throne, but like just a chair at the clear head of the room, in the position of power in the room. And there's a few other like Thieves Guild members around the room working on various things, but Yinazmira lets you in. You're a little earlier than I expected, but we do have some information for you. I regret to say we don't know everything, but we have gathered a good bit about these Leadbuster lads. They are a group of brothers, like I mentioned before, and they tend to do things for money. We still don't know who hired them or why, but maybe you can beat that out of them if that's information you truly need. Because what we did find that they've stationed themselves at a nearby old, previously abandoned fortress in the area. Not a terribly large one. Really just a small keep from long before Otari was ever formed. It's a little old and a little crumbled, but it has kept them sheltered and out of sight of the other residents here, and people don't go checking on those old ruins all that often. So, I can mark that location for you. You can go track them down before they know you're coming and find the rest of your information. Get back at them for whatever they've done around town. All of that. Would this satisfy your price you paid us?
Yes, and once it's marked on the map, is it the one that we had a map of before?
No.
Okay. I guess I would ask about entrances. Is there only one entrance, one exit? Are there probably secret entrances and stuff, or is it just a?
We are not aware of any secret entrances or exits to the keep. and it is old enough and small enough. It only has one main portcullis you would enter through. It's relatively small, though it may be crumbled enough that another wall has opened up somewhere they could escape through.
Okay. Well, thank you for your information, and we will go look into this more.
So the location is called Monder Castle. I can mark that on your map for you. Here, hand that over. She pulls out a quill pen, dips it in some ink real quick as you hand over the map. Draws a little X on it. I'm sure you'll find them there. We were very careful that none of our scouts were seen by them, so you'll catch them completely unawares. I wish you luck.
Can I roll a perception to see if she's telling the truth?
Sure.
Blind.
She always kind of has a certain air of... There's a certain air to her actions always. She kind of always acts a middling amount of suspicious, so you can never truly tell, and she becomes very hard to read. She's clearly very practiced at being hard to read. You're not really sure. But as far as you know, this is how she's always acted whenever you've interacted with her, so...
All right, well, that raises no alarms for me, and
Yep.
I will thank her for the information and meet up with the party.
All right. I assume you...
And
Yes.
relay that information.
Yes, Monder Castle. But like this. Maunder. All right, and if there's no further interactions about that piece of information, you're headed to the historian, it sounded like, Odd Stories.
I think so.
All right. So there's still Morlebent is inside. It's probably a little early in the morning at this point when you're heading in there and making this inquiry. So he's still kind of setting things up. He's got a glass of tea on the counter that he's slowly working on, and he's currently organizing some books and trying to find places for them on all the shelves. So when you walk in, he walks back over to the counter and sets down the books he had in his arms that he was still kind of trying to find places for. He says, yes, how can I help you?
For starters, I think I'd like to buy that basic crafter's book.
Oh, yes, of course.
See.
1 silver piece.
All right.
By any chance, do you have a recipe book? I might need it.
That's the beauty of the basic crafter's book. It's got all the recipes for any craft. Well, all of the...
No, not... But like food.
Yes. You'll find recipes for food, instructions for woodworking, metalworking, all of the basic skills. It's quite a useful tome.
But that sounds rather advanced. Do you have something like cooking for dummies?
I'm afraid that is the most dumb book we have on offer. I suppose
I'm just gonna blush a little bit and hide.
I'll work you through. I'll talk you through it.
I'm sure we have some.
We can do cooking classes together.
We likely have some books with. Marblant is now starting to see the situation a little more clearly. We may have some books with more pictures in them. If you need that
no, it's
kind
fine.
of.
I'll just go wait outside.
Oh, okay. Yes. He'll nod to
leaves
Shay.
and hides around the corner.
We do have more copies of the basic crafter's book if you think she will need one.
I will probably work with her.
Oh, okay.
She definitely needs oversight in the kitchen.
Ah, I see. Is that Is that what I smell on all of you?
Yeah.
I see.
Breakfast.
Uh, best of luck.
Thank you. In the meantime,
Can I buy one of those?
Oh, yes, my good man. Pull out
I'll
another one
buy
of
it
those for
from the
you.
market because it disappeared.
Yeah, that's fine. He definitely has multiple copies of it. I guess the store just only got pre-populated, so that works.
yeah.
Anything else of interest to bring you here today?
We ran across an interesting crypt.
Oh.
Over our travels.
Fascinating. Up in the woods.
What is it called? Sorry.
Slab Hill.
Slab Hill.
Oh, for many years I'd wondered if there was more to that place. It seemed so artificial.
Is there anything you can tell us about the Starhand family?
Huh. Well, just give me a moment, and I'll start looking through a bunch of different books. I take it from the fact that you said it was in a crypt. This must be something fairly old. Pulls out a tome and kind of flips through a section in the back and puts it back, pulls out another tome. And you're there for a few minutes as he just pulls out a few different books and starts looking through sections of them. And
yeah, and I'm gonna, while he's looking, just kind of chat and tell him a little bit of what we found, like the mudslide, changed the opening, magically protected chamber.
Fascinating. Let's see. Starhand? Yes, Starhand. That was it. That was the one?
Yes.
Ah. Yes, I see here. The Starhand family, ending with Karsten Starhand.
Was that the name of the...
Yes, that was the name announced to you inside the barrow.
Okay. Yes, he was buried there, and...
She, actually.
Two birds. She? Oh.
Yes, she was a vicious warlord in the region, long before we settled Otari here, or, I believe even predating Absalom by a short bit. Back when this place was much more wild, this was all her territory, really. But such rule does not last forever. And it appears she fell in battle, not against a particularly vicious foe, but just a stray arrow. The wound got infected. Not an excellent way to go for a warrior.
Have any history of dabbling in necromancy by chance?
It doesn't say anything about that in particular, no.
Does it say anything about her being a demigod?
No, I think it would mention that if that were the case. Also, I don't think she would fall in battle to an infected arrow wound. But, a fearsome warlord she was, and, what I can say is, I can't say I'm a master of necromancy, but I do know some of the details of how it works. It's necessary knowledge in order to combat against it. I'm sure you're all familiar. Over a long enough time, a spirit like that, who would pass away under unfavorable circumstances, a soul that was unable to find rest, well, that's very unrest can cause that soul to never pass on properly and cause all sorts of strange occurrences. And the more powerful the emotions, the more powerful the occurrences.
Well, the shadow-sucking remnant of Karsten is dead now, but the runes seem self-repairing. So I would advise extreme caution or a way to undo magic if anybody's going to go exploring or take any architectural journey or not archaeological journeys.
Self-repairing rune structure from that long ago is quite fascinating. We might have to, yeah, we'll take the proper precautions, of course. Thank you for the warning, but I might have to go see that for myself.
It throws knives.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense for a warlord's grave.
A lot of them, and they hurt.
Yeah, that makes sense for a warlord's grave. Anyways, I'm afraid this tome doesn't have much more knowledge on that facet. I'm sure there are many artifacts in the region that would point some more history towards Karsten and the Starhand family, but it's ancient history at this point. Interesting to study, though. I may go find these ruins myself with a proper party at some point. Perhaps we'll be in touch again.
Of course, it was certainly an interesting adventure, and I figured, being the wealth of historical knowledge you are, you might be interested.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very resistant to physical damage, and the only way I found to disable them was by finding the correct rune and knocking it out of place.
And they're self-repairing. Yes, interesting.
Over the course of hours, I think.
There's much more powerful magic than I would have thought an ancient warlord would have, especially of a region as small as this, but that just makes it all the more fascinating. Who could have set that up? I'll do more research on this. I won't keep you much longer.
There were star symbols, so it seems like it might have been related to the family.
Yes, I'll need to do more research into this.
Okay. Well, we have our own explorations to undertake.
Very well. I won't keep you any longer. You've given me something to pore over these books for more detail about, so thank you.
Always happy to give someone else a research project.
And so, that is where we will end for this evening and for this week. As we wrap up the session, y'all got back to town, y'all completed Magaloy's quest, you got some spicy tonic and some other random treasures and things, and you're almost level 4. It probably won't be much longer at this point. And now you have a lead as well. You know the location of the current hideout of the Leadbuster lads, and maybe next time you'll go check that out.
I guess in Odd Stories I would ask if there was a layout or something of the castle.
Let's handle that next time.
Okay.
But I'm going to, let's roll for it right now since we're here. I'm going to say it's extremely unlikely that they would have the blueprints to a random old. Just to clarify why I think that's unlikely. The woods of Otari and like this whole region are like speckled with tiny little places like that. Like it's not like, oh, there's 3 castles in the area. It's like, oh no, there's 3,000 castles in the area. And they're all just old and no one cares about them anymore. It's just like a very this region used to be split into a lot of really, really tiny territories like these warlords would fight over and stuff. So it's just one of these ancient warlords' territories, and yeah, they might have a 3-sentence blurb about this was a warlord and they died to an arrow to the knee. That might be the entire thing they know. But I will roll for it. Let's see what Morblint has. I don't think that's enough, unfortunately. So no, they don't have a map of the place or anything. But he does know where it is on the map. Fair. He can point you to the location, but you already have the location, so. Alright. So, thank you all for playing this week. I'll catch you all next week. And we're getting close to the end of this chapter. Woo!
Thank you for the session.